When children write, they do more than just write and spell words correctly. They need to effectively use grammar and structure of text to successfully create meaning appropriate to the type of text and purpose. Today, literacy is considered a tool to be participants in the technological society of the 21st century. Children experiencing writing difficulties often struggle with spelling, grammar, punctuation rules, accessing prior knowledge, expressing ideas, word analysis, visual memory, vocabulary knowledge, and strategy use. They often experience difficulties with phonological and phonic skills, lack of phonological awareness, and are weak at segmenting words into component sounds and syllables. Causes of writing difficulties can be environmental or intrinsic to the learner. Environmental can include socioeconomic status or poor teaching instruction, and intrinsic relating to a sensory impairment or learning disability such as dysgraphia, dyslexia, and dyspraxia, all which relate to the ability to handwrite and spell, recognize words, and decoding. Explicit teaching in handwriting rarely happens in schools now because less than 20% of trainee teachers receive any instruction in how to teach handwriting. It has faded from most primary school curricula, which brings me to our next argument. Is technology to blame for the decrease in handwriting? A study conducted by DocMail found that 33% of people struggle to read their own handwriting. People communicate via laptops, phones, and tablets now that they rarely need to scribble a handwritten note. How can children experiencing writing difficulties benefit from this? A recent study into the meta-analysis of writing intervention addressed this issue by identifying effective instructional writing practices. The results identified 9 successful treatments that were supported as effective. These were strategy instruction for planning or drafting, teacher grammar and usage, goal setting for productivity, strategy instruction for editing, writing with a word processor, reinforcing specific writing outcomes, use of pre-writing activities, teaching sentence construction skills, and strategy instruction for paragraph writing. Christensen claims that it is never too late to help children develop their handwriting, and there is evidence that in doing so, their writing improves in length and quality. So, what does the Australian curriculum say? It states it has been designed for every learner and recognises the different learning preferences, areas of interest, and different rates of development. It says that educators must ensure that every learner has access and participates in the curriculum. Now we must consider legislations. The Education General Provisions Act 2006 says teachers must ensure education programs are responsive to the individual needs of children and provide positive learning experiences, recognise educational needs, and promote a safe and supportive learning environment. The Education Queensland Curriculum and Assessment Authority Act 2014 says schools must achieve quality learning outcomes for their students with the support of providers of education and care. Teachers can identify a child experiencing writing difficulties by referring to Spell's handbook called Understanding Learning Difficulties. It provides principals, teachers, and school psychologists with indicators of learning difficulties and addresses effective remediation. Some indicators include requiring more time writing, producing smaller amounts of work, spending little time thinking before beginning to write, reluctance to review a draft, and being preoccupied with the mechanical aspects of writing. The response to intervention model is an effective tool to the early identification and support of students with diverse learning needs. It includes 3 tiers that focus on monitoring and interventions. Westwood adds that teachers may notice motivation and anxiety problems with the process of writing. Students often develop low self-esteem, lose confidence in their own abilities, and develop several strategies for avoiding tasks that are perceived to be too challenging. They can also assess the quality of students' writing, the text structure, cohesion, sentence structure and grammar, vocabulary, punctuation, spelling, the editing and presentation. Informal assessment can include conversations, checklists, anecdotal notes, teacher-generated scales, and conferences on students during writing instruction to determine their level of motivation, their strengths and abilities to process information, and to identify future teaching. Another observation teachers can make during class, based on research, characteristics common to children with learning disabilities and children who are bullied, Peer victimization may overtly be displayed. Formal assessments can include running records, the PAT-R test, and ICAS or IRI. The whole word visual approach strengthens visual memory and enhances the recognition and recall of letter patterns. The well-known look, say, cover, write, check method for learning to spell irregular words is one strategy of this approach that is effective in activating visual memory. The multisensory strategy involves finger tracing over a written version of a target word while looking at it and saying it clearly. This strategy helps students to store an accurate visual and motor image of the word in long-term memory.